boys are finally back. We took a little bit of a break. It looks like Tev needed to take a break to go get a haircut, to go buy a new shirt by the looks of things. So yeah, sorry about the long wait, folks. Both of us had some things going on last week that we kind of couldn't get out of. And before we start with this week's episode's fun fact, I just want to say this episode is titled The Interlull because last week we had a bit of a break, and unfortunately your boy Ty is going on a little bit of a journey next week, so I won't be able to record next week, so we'll be back again in 2 weeks. But we needed to give you guys something, so here we are sitting here in sickness and in health still. New shirt, fresh cut for those of you that are watching, looking good. Okay, so straight into the fun fact. So if you had the chance and if you follow us on Instagram, you would have seen that we posted a few would you rather questions, which Tev is going to go into the details in a moment. But I thought I would start with a fun fact about would you rather questions in general. So the fact is that they are often used as a way to explore decision-making processes and individual values. Psychologists have even used would you rather questions in studies to better understand how people weigh different choices and make decisions. So they've used these psychologists, and as an example, they conducted research which explored how people's choices are influenced by the social context in which they are made. So the question that they asked, for example, was, would you rather have a boring job that paid well or an exciting job that paid poorly? And what they found was that people basically look at it in terms of what is socially desirable as opposed to what they feel as individuals. So, for example, the participants were more likely to choose a boring job that paid well over an exciting job because making more money is more socially acceptable. So yeah, I just thought it was quite interesting to see how the context of your answer can tell us a lot. And yeah, now we know a lot about the people who answered our funny little would you rather questions.
Oof. And were there some interesting results? So thank you for that fun fact. Actually, there's a lot of people I think would generally gravitate towards the money. Because
yeah,
I think they'd almost play it off and say, well, I've got the money now, I'm able to do more things that I like to do, given that I have the means. But what's that saying? If you are working a job that you love, then you never have to work a day in your life.
Yeah, but which one would you take?
Oof. If it's my dream job, and I'm not getting peanuts, but I'm getting maybe slightly lower than market rates, I'm going to go with the jobs that I love.
And what if it's like, let's say £1,000 difference a month?
Ooh.
For your dream job, or just another office job where you pushing paper?
Then I would consider taking more money and then using the money to almost throw
your
into
interest.
Yeah, like the big vibe. So I have more resources to do.
Hey, we can start boosting our posts. I don't know, man. Like, what is that one saying? If you are not a communist in your 20s, you have no heart. And if you're not a capitalist in your 30s, you have no brain. I'm starting to see that. I know it's quite a cynical quote, but I'm starting to see like how having money is just nice. So if I'm being completely honest, I'll probably take the money job. I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, I mean, you have to think about the amount of hours you spend doing your work. But, hey, man, I'll be honest. Like, when you have a little bit of extra cash flow, life is really good, man. You know,
things open up in life, man. Things do open up.
So I don't know. Let's discuss the questions.
Something to think about. Because a lot of you know that we asked the question, would you rather, or rather a few would you rathers on social media. And the first one was, would you rather have a mullet for the rest of your life, or would you rather have a rat's tail for the rest of your life? And the overwhelming majority chose the mullet.
What about you?
That's the right answer. I definitely go mullet over the rat's tail. Ooh, that rat's
Do you remember?
tail.
Do you remember? But I also chose such a cringe picture for that. But do you remember in high school there was a little bit of a phase where a few of us, myself included, we had a bit of a mullet and we used to straighten it. That was like the GHD would come out. Sometimes I look back and I'm like, ooh, okay. So clearly I'm on.
Man was a pioneer. You were starting something.
Team mullet, yeah.
You walked so this generation could run, man. The second question was, would you have no eyebrows forever, or would you have a unibrow forever? And here again, there was an overwhelming majority that was for no eyebrows forever. I think as well, I'd likely lean towards a no eyebrows.
I think maybe because you can draw them, but if you can't do anything, I mean, obviously the caveat to this question is you can't fix the unibrow. You have to have it, right?
It's there.
Yeah. So because I feel like you can do something. Okay, so you can't draw eyebrows on, just no eyebrows.
No eyebrows. I think I'd still go for no eyebrows. Like the unibrow is just it's too distinct, man. It's just so much
like eyebrows. People double take. I mean, like they'll look at you and then they'll check again. Like you know what I mean? Like a unibrow is awkward. We know it's there, but I swear you'll get people.
Eyebrows. It's fun.
Yeah. I don't know.
Tough.
Okay.
Third one was, would you rather have a permanent, unremovable wedgie, or would you rather wear underwear on the outside forever? This is an interesting one. People actually went for the underwear on the outside forever. I don't know if the thinking there is like superheroes, like if you look at Superman, Batman, the original comics, they have underwear on.
Captain Underpants. What would you do?
Unremovable wedgie. No, I think I'd go with the underwear. I think I'd do the underwear.
The underwear on the outside?
I'll do the underwear on the outside.
Nah, I do.
You can always play it off. You can play it off.
Nah, I do a wedgie. Swag.
Permanent
swag is swag.
Wedgie.
Swag is swag. Swag is swag. I can't.
That's pain. I know there's a saying it hurts to be beautiful, but that's a step far, bruh. The next one was change one thing. Would you rather change one thing from your past or see 10 years into the future? This was a close one. This was 54%. That said they would see 10 years into the future instead of one thing in the past.
You?
That's a tricky one. I think I would actually change one thing from my past. Something that I know now that could make a massive difference in my future.
Okay.
Now, would it be my future? What about you?
I'd be so scared. Like, you've seen the movie Butterfly Effect? I'd be so scared of what the repercussions of changing that one thing would be. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm so happy in my life right now. And not just because of the big vibe, although that is a reason. But I'm so stoked with the way things are going. And I'd just be so nervous of changing something. But at the same time, you know how, like, in Final Destination and that kind of stuff, when you see into the future, like, what it can do to you, you know, the way it can impact everything that you do.
Because what if you can't change it, but you see that it's going to happen?
And more often than not, you see what's going to happen and you think you try so hard to change it that you inevitably make it happen, if you know what I'm saying. Or something happens and you try so hard to make sure that it happens that you make it not happen. You see, this time travel thing, man, it cooks. Man. It cooks. These time travel questions cook, man. I don't know which one I'd do.
Whilst we're on that, if anyone hasn't watched it yet, Deja Vu, starring Denzel Washington, go watch it.
Is it new?
Time. No, it's actually quite an old movie. But go and watch it. If you can find it anywhere, go and watch it.
Better than Butterfly Effect? Because that was a great film.
Maybe as good.
Oh, wow. Okay. I'll go. I need a movie for the plane. I'll have a look.
It's a good
one. Okay.
Our next question was, would you rather live without television or live without music?
I know what you're choosing.
Surprisingly, the majority said live without... Oh, no. Live without television was the correct answer here, or the overwhelming majority. I think I side with them.
I think I do no music. I think. It's tough, but man, I like TV.
Again, the caveat here is, can I watch YouTube, which has music?
Nah, no music. And at the same time, no TV shows without music.
Oof, that's a
soundtrack. Yeah, that is a big difference. That actually kills But humans are quite amazing that they would find a way. I think I would stick with TV though. I like TV, man.
Oh, I can't do without music, man.
I know, yeah, you can't.
And then our final one that we asked here was, would you rather know the answer to every question or know the truth to every statement? The overall majority decided, 62% decided to know the truth to every statement.
So we got a question as well on Instagram that asked, is this not the same thing, knowing the answer to every question or the truth about every statement? And I was struggling to articulate that it is different. Do you agree with me that it's different?
There is a distinction, yeah. There is a distinction. I think knowing the truth to every statement, I think that one speaks quite clearly to what it is. But knowing the answer to every question, I think there's a bit more, there's a gray area for that. The truth is almost like a black and white.
Okay.
So, unless I'm flipping the two around, because I think it was you that mentioned the statement. There are always three sides to a story.
It's three sides to a story, yeah.
Yeah.
Your side, my side, and the truth.
Your side, my side, and the truth.
Okay,
So
which one would you know?
There is a distinction, yeah. I would rather know the answer to every question.
Know the answer to every question.
Know the answer to.
You see, I think
it
it's
will
also
get you further in life.
Yeah, I think so. I think it would actually get you further in life. And also, I think knowing the answer to every question gives you a little bit more control, because I think if you know the truth to every statement, you get a lot of unwanted information. Like sometimes I want to be lied to, or you know what I mean? Like just like make me feel better. Like, you know, like tell me that you love the big vibe, or tell me like I'm okay. Like I'd much rather deal with that than, and I know sometimes it's like, oh yeah, you know, like when people are like, oh yeah, I love your little podcast. Like,
sure,
okay,
it's so
thanks.
great.
You know, yeah, I know maybe it's not so truthful, but rather than like knowing everyone that told me if that was true or not, just as an example, I think that hurts. You know,
I think you found quite a few more.
Yeah.
Would you rather questions for us?
So I would ask you, would you rather be able to know when you're going to die or how you're going to die?
Yeah. Neither of those sound particularly great, but I think I'd want to know. Maybe the when.
I think I'd not want to know
Maybe
when.
the when. The how. I think in the how, it's exactly what you're talking about. Trying to avoid it so much that I inevitably end up
creating it. You live in such paranoia. It's again in Final Destination. What a movie ahead of its time. That thing.
That is exactly it.
Yeah, they actually make it happen, right? When they actually get those premonitions. And I wouldn't want to live like that. So if I knew when, I don't know, I wonder if that would make me reckless though. Like if I knew that I was dying, like let's say I knew I was dying in 10 years time, would that mean that I would just do like, I just live because I know I'm good. I'm good. Like no,
exactly.
You know,
but and that's positive. Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, it could do. Would you rather be able to control your own dreams or be able to control other people's dreams?
Control my own. I'd firstly just like to understand what some of my dreams mean. Firstly, so having some control there would make some sense.
Yeah.
You controlling other people's dreams?
Nah, I don't really like the idea of that. You know, like it's kind of, it's not cool. But I think I'd have a great time if I could control my own dreams.
Yeah.
Imagine all the stuff you could get up to, man, if you were like unlimited.
That's legit. That's like if I would imagine limitless, but in my dreams. Let
me give you one more that I like.
Yeah.
One more that I like.
Okay.
Would you rather have a photographic memory or be able to forget anything you wanted to?
While studying, I would have said photographic memory. Photographic memory, yeah. Photographic memory.
Yeah, you think so?
Anything I want to forget.
I'm trying to think of like in what scenario that would be beneficial.
Exactly. Where would I use that?
I mean, I know I have
trauma
some
response.
I have some cringe memories that I could do with forgetting, but maybe not enough to like rather have that instead of photographic memory. Although, if you could forget anything, like you could forget the things that guess let you. Nah, there's actually, I can't really think of a benefit. I was going to say like you can forget your failures, but you know, all the proper entrepreneurs and clever guys say that it's you learn from your failures, so you wouldn't want to forget it. Yeah, photographic memory, easy question.
Because I think I don't know how much people like knowing or doing something for the first time.
Yeah.
Is that becoming a bit too deep there? So meeting Katya for the first time, getting married for the first time, all of these things could be nice to redo. No?
Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, you know, like they say, like, yeah, like you could have a lot of firsts over again, which is
exactly.
But I mean, it's like Click. You know that movie with the controller where
the Adam Sandler.
Yeah, where he kind of doesn't live his life because he's so busy changing everything. I'm wondering if you had the ability to forget, like you would just change so much, I think, like, and you would like kind of take away that, like, I want to say je ne sais quoi, that like beauty of the moment kind of thing, you know? But yeah, I think photographic memory, I think that's the one. But yeah, that was a cool little question. We'll think of another way to make more interactive questions for the people to help us out on Instagram, which, by the way, we don't actually do this so much anymore, but I realize we should. If you are still here, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. Please like the videos. Please share them. These things, they really do go a long way. If you're listening on any audio platforms, just rate it. You know, we like 5 stars. It helps us. When we started the show, we were doing all right. Right now, we've slowed down a little bit in terms of traction, but we keep at it. We'll be here, so all help is appreciated in that regard. It costs nothing to help us, and it just takes some of our time to make this. And if you like it, please do. So now, my next one that I wanted to chat about. So last weekend, I went to the Philippines to play in a touch rugby tournament. And if you want to call me an international sportsman, you can, but I won't force you to. But anyway, I went to the Philippines last weekend. And while I was there, there was a takeaway place called Jollibee's that is only found really in the Philippines or in areas where there's a large Filipino population. Now, Jollibee's is a fast food chain that exists only in the Philippines, like I've said. And obviously you see it everywhere, and I was only there for a very short time. I flew in on the Friday and left on the Sunday, so I was trying to experience as much of, you know, the culture that I could in such a short amount of time. So I asked a lot of my friends that I was on tour with, like, let's go to Jollibee's. Like, I really want to try it. I see lots of them, and every single Filipino I asked, how is Jollibee's? They're like, it's delicious. I'm like, is Jollibee's better than KFC? They're like 100%. So I'm like, is Jollibee's better than McDonald's? They're like, for sure. Jollibee's is the best takeaway. So obviously, I'm a hype man. Yep. So I went to Jollibee's and I ate some food. And if we do have any Filipino listeners, I'm sorry to inform you, it was not great. And a lot of the other people that weren't Filipinos that I was with, they didn't even eat. They just took me there. They're like, we're not eating here, but you can eat. And a few of us ate. And they were like, we told you this thing is bad. So afterwards, it had me think like it was really bad. Like, oh, it was really, really bad.
What did you have, by the way?
I had a little bit of chicken, like fried chicken. And then they also like known for like their spaghetti. And it was just very, very sweet, the spaghetti. Yeah, it really wasn't good. But it had me thinking afterwards. I was like, you know, I wonder why they so hyped about this. Like, what is it about this that they enjoyed? And I was thinking, and I think what happens is like it becomes culturally significant for them, right? They grew up with it. It was like it would be an occasion for them, probably like a Friday night. They would go with their families, get Jollibee's. So there's a lot of nostalgia attached, and that nostalgia, obviously, we know can cloud our opinion or our taste buds in this case. So I wanted to ask you, and I have my own answer, whether it be from the UK or from South Africa. Can you think of a it doesn't have to be a food. It can be a food or something that is significant within that country that is actually trash, but we put it up on a pedestal because of cultural nostalgia.
Ooh, brilliant question. Let's just start with that. Sticking with the food front, I'll start with the UK and then I'll gravitate back towards a South African context. But for the UK, fish and chips. Flat out. They pride themselves on it. It's almost like their national dish here. Fish and chips. Oh, it started here, the newspaper thing, putting it in the newspaper, fish and chips. It's the greatest thing here. Do a fry up with fish and chips. Absolute trash. Absolute trash. Like 7 out of 10 times it hasn't been great. I think there's been 1 or 2 standouts that's been okay. It's been like,
so not even great.
I can handle this. I can order this once every 2 months. And
have you gone to a place though where someone is like, this is the place for fish and chips? Like, I'ma show you.
It was opposite the Thames. They called, I don't know what the name of the business is, but world-renowned fish and chips, the best fish and chips in the UK. Come here and have the best chippy you can find. Honestly, dry. The fish, the chips. Here, they don't like to put vinegar on their chips and seasoning. Like, why must you ask me if I want to have these things as an accompaniment? Why not just ask me whilst I'm at the till? Would you like salt? Would you like some sauce? Instead, you give me this bone-dry meal, and you expect me to leave with a smile on my face. So,
is the fish and chips at the Funchal Cafe on Decker's better?
Boy, Ruben, your dad knows how to cook some really good fish and chips, man. I'd say Funchal
better,
much better.
How would you rank it? How would you rank it according to like our fish and chips franchise? Which is also pretty like pretty trash as well if you really think about it.
I say like for back home, there's Ocean Basket.
Yeah.
Obviously, you can go a bit higher into your more niche stores like Fish
like
Market,
your bougie places. Yeah.
Exactly, but I'd say Ocean Basket. Then I put in Funchal and go all the way to the bottom. Then on
really
from food fish and chips.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's trash.
Okay.
It's actual trash.
And it must be, I think it is cultural nostalgia.
It is. I won't even get started on beans.
Okay, we don't have to talk. I mean, when you only have such limited food options, let me go with mine that I thought of with the cultural nostalgia. And I immediately thought about Wimpy. That was the first thing I thought about, right? So Wimpy is, in all honesty, probably it's really not good food. Like, let's just be honest with it. Like, for those people that are listening from South Africa, we don't choose to go to Wimpy when we're feeling, like, oh, let's go treat ourselves. But we all know when we were driving to Durban or to Bloemfontein or just on a road trip when you were driving, there was always the Engine One stop that had a Wimpy attached to it. And you would stop there and you'd have your cheeseburger or whatever it is that you ate there. And it would just be so good. But I think it was just because we were going on holiday and it's all wrapped up in this blanket of nostalgia where actually, if we were to judge it on the food alone, man, it really is bad. And I think that for me is what I equate to like a Jollibees.
I think you got the nail on the head there, man. Generally, as you said, it's always for holiday time. And I think I found myself buying more Wimpy or choosing to go to a Wimpy instead of like a Shell Ultra City is because with FNB, so banking with FNB SA, you got the entertainer, I think it was. And part of the discount there with FNB, or it's E-Bucks gives you a free meal at Wimpy one-stops.
Yes.
Every quarter.
Yes, I remember.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anytime there was a road trip, go and pick up a free Wimpy meal.
Yeah.
The breakfast, like a mega breakfast, or any of the burger deals.
But you know the food wasn't great. Do you have any other from back home that you can think of?
Oh yes, this is a hill that I will die on. I'll continue to die on this hill, even though I know many other people will continue to criticize it. But the PSL, the Premier Soccer League,
okay,
people say, what garbage. This is so trash. I won't even talk about Bafana. But the PSL is for strict entertainment value. I don't think many leagues come close. Yes, in the Premier League, you get a lot of your global stars week in, week out. But in terms of entertainment value, yes, we have goals, but we also have, there's a culture around PSL, man. There's things that you just can't find anywhere else from the PSL. Be it skills, be it the crowd, be it vuvuzelas, man. There is a lot about the PSL that I find very unique, and it's the hill that I'll die on.
So
but
you
everyone
saying
else thinks, this is trash, this is trash.
So this is kind of the opposite to Jolly Bees, where you feel like there should be more of a cultural attachment to it?
Yes,
in some cases, because I feel no connection to the PSL.
National pride. If anyone were to, if you were to look up showboating in the dictionary, I think there would be many a montage of PSL listed next to what showboating is all about, and that's the thing that we love. It's like, if you talk motor racing, people will tell you about F1. But if you ask a South African about motor racing, they'll tell you about the drags. Keegan will tell you about King by Night in Kimberley. Someone's going to tell you about some spin contest that's happening. Maybe it's like, I don't know, close to Aldo's. I don't know. There's so many things here that are going on that I think we need to have a bit more national pride for.
Okay.
And PSL, as much as, yes, there is a significant difference in quality, overall quality, but I do think that as a South African, it's one thing that
we should give it more props. Okay, I'll bear that in mind. I quite like that you ended that on like on a more positive spin, on like a cultural attachment, as opposed to like a negative one. You see, that's what we bring here. We bring positivity.
It's all about the vibes. And then, it's standard practice for us to always try and end off on some good news, maybe something fascinating, maybe something wholesome. And this week, on the day of recording, it marks the first call on a mobile phone that was done today 50 years ago. And we've actually found a really funny story that relates to this fact, which happened on April the 3rd. And on this day in 1973, the first ever cell phone call was made by Martin Cooper, an engineer at Motorola, to his rivals, there's some shade there, at Bell Labs, Joel Engel. However, the funny part of this fact is that the call didn't go exactly as smoothly as planned. According to Cooper, he was walking down the street in New York City during the call, and he was so excited about the technology that he didn't realize he was standing right next to a police officer. The officer mistook the large brick-like cell phone for a gun, and he nearly arrested Cooper on the spot. Luckily, Cooper was able to convince the officer that it was just a phone, and he went down in history as the first person to make a cell phone call.
I mean, you know what I love about that story is that he called his rival. I think that's so sick. Oh man, that's so cool, man.
BDE.
Yeah, I know you've been trying to do this, but by answering this call, you realize that, like, essentially, I've done this before you.
That's a flex, boy. That is a flex and a half. So, I mean, we've come leaps and bounds. The things that we're able to do with a mobile phone these days is extraordinary. Honestly, who knew that people's lives, who knew that people's livelihoods would be
shaped
open up
and determined? Yeah,
exactly, through the form of this
just
pocket size,
like microcomputer thing. Just a quick question: do you remember your favorite phone that you had growing up? I know mine.
Favorite that I've owned, or just
that you owned, like where you really felt like this is the one. This is the one. For me, it was. Do you remember there was Sony launched at a stage like the range of Walkman, like all those other ones, and I had one of those that kind of spun like 180, like it would open like that, and you could change the color. It had like orange and black, and you could change the plastic on the front. Man, I thought it was peak when I had that phone. I loved that phone. That one that's like open sideways. I thought that was my memory phone that I remember.
You were in it.
I was in it there.
Up. There's us commoners, and then there's
You must
But I
know.
thought I was fancy with a slide and even a flip. Like, had the Motorola Razor, which was, ooh, that thing was
That was
sweet,
in
man.
for a moment. Everyone had a razor. If you didn't have a razor, you didn't know.
Yeah, that was the high life there. And then what I loved about the D500, the slide.
Yeah.
Aaron, our super fan Aaron, he was the one who unlocked my phone and he put in some cheat code and the volume on my phone was somehow able to go like 10 times as loud as what it was. So in terms of customization, that D500 was sick, and then that free kick game. So I was like, oof, I'm loving it. Aaron,
And you used to jam.
game, bro.
You used to jam to polyphonics with your boys in primary
Ooh,
school.
in the club.
Hey, we were having it,
50,
yeah.
50 in the book there, boy. Download. Pay R2.50 for that one for the week.
Hey,
Yo.
we gotta thank our boy Joe Engel for this one, because wow, there's some times attached to this. I mean, yeah, I think that's such a nice little, sweet little moment to wrap this episode up. With a nice nostalgic moment. Yeah, if you guys think about your favorite phone when you were growing up, put it down below. We'd appreciate that. That'll be quite cool. And yeah, remember, no episode, unfortunately, next week, but we will be back with all the stories and all the vibes the week thereafter.
Looking forward to it, man. Looking forward to it. I think this, firstly, safe travels. I know you're going to have an amazing time on your trip. We're looking to hear all about it when you get back. But thanks again for everyone who's given us answers to our poll questions, also interacted with us online. We really do appreciate it. It means the world.
sure.
We just love creating content for you, man. So we'll definitely be making more goodness for you in the coming weeks. And thanks
And
again
then-
for lending us your time, man.
We'll see you after the interlull, my guys.
We'll see you soon. Have a great one. Check you out the
Ciao.
next time. Cheers.